teenagers of Reddit. What are the hardest things to explain to adults that you can tell a child and will understand? When we say don't tell anyone, we mean don't tell anyone. I told my mom about a girl I absolutely hated. Then later that night, she FaceTimes me and says, guess what, I work with her aunt, and flips the camera to her and starts talking about how she told her that I hated her niece. We aren't trying to act moody when we fight back. We want to learn to stand up for ourselves when you guys don't listen. Even when we have valid arguments, some of you guys think that you are always correct since you are the adult. By arguing, we are asking for some respect from you, not trying to take any respect away from you. My dad, though, the denser you make something, the more mass it gets. Then I had to explain the formula for calculating mass and density, the conversation of mass, and how he was wrong. Boy, he was P. When I talk too much, I'm disrespectful. When I don't talk at all, I'm standoffish. I have no other resort than to withdraw in my room. Then you get in trouble for being in your room too much because you need to spend time with family. There's no winning. Just because I have my own personal life and secrets doesn't automatically mean I'm doing something bad, illegal, or straight up dangerous. I'm allowed to have secrets. You have no privacy in this house. That sometimes I just don't want to be with other people. A kid would just say okay and it would make sense to them. But adults can't seem to understand that I want to be by myself sometimes. Isolated. I've always phrased it as I don't feel like being a person right now, and that's usually gotten the point across of I need time by myself to exist and not think about how I relate to other people. Almost not a teenager anymore, but I found hanging out online on Discord, or a couple years ago, on Skype, is just so surreal to adults, especially people age 50 and older. Bonus for the fact that they insist you can't have a meaningful conversation there, whatever that means. That I'm doing the best I can and that I'm still learning how to be an adult and sometimes I still need help. I get that I'm an adult now, but it helps if adults show me how to do that. The brain doesn't fully mature until you're around 25. I don't think we take this into consideration enough and often expect too much from young people. You don't have to be nice to people that are mean to you. Yes, even if they're family. My grandmother still doesn't get why I don't talk to my parents anymore. I'm 23 and married. Just because someone is going through something worse doesn't mean your thing isn't bad either. We were watching Jojo Rabbit, a movie set in World War II, and she said it makes sense for those people to have depression. But why do you? Or whenever I complained about my dad's gambling problem, or if he yells at me, or my mom, she always says at least he doesn't beat you. Just because children are starving in Africa, it doesn't mean you can't be hungry. It's just that we aren't totally clueless and a lot of adults treat us that way, and it is so frustrating. Again, I see your point, but I also think it's double-sided. Some teenagers are just bad, but some of us are trying our hardest and adults don't see it and think we are just slacking. It's a complicated thing for sure. OMG, same. My dad always acts impressed when I know a band or a celebrity I've known about for years. How to use a phone tablet. Not sure how a 4-year-old can become an iPhone whiz in under 30 minutes, but showing a family member how to send a photo will take hours because you have to keep showing them because they don't bother to remember. Haha. Trying to get people to understand and remember things about phones is like trying to get a kid to understand and remember math. The first part is sometimes easy. The other part, more often than not, is much more difficult. My OCD. I live in 2 households and my mom takes care of my medical stuff. So when I was diagnosed, my dad didn't know. I waited to tell him, and when I finally did, he was confused and couldn't understand why I was thinking such horrible things, and told me to just stop thinking them. His wife said the same thing. Like, yeah, thanks, I'll get right on that. However, when I had to explain to my stepsisters why I couldn't stop turning the lights on and off, the youngest, 12, said something like, that sounds horrible. I've heard of people having it. What's it like? Our cousins came up to visit and their mom was a little more understanding than my dad, but her kids were way more understanding. The youngest is 3 and she actually counts out loud when I do things. I do things in 4S. Very annoying, and it makes me feel less hatred towards myself for being unable to stop. The second youngest is 9 and she asked about it. She didn't fully get it. but she said something like it's not like you want to think like that, and doing things repeatedly makes it go away. If it makes you feel better then do it. One of her sisters got water on my arm after having been in the pond and I freaked out, and she poured a bottle of clean water down my arm and asked if I was okay. Later she rested her elbow on my shoulder, having dried off, and immediately removed it, then asked if it was okay to do that. That all probably sounded like a jumbled mess. My point is, I appreciate kids that understand that kind of thing. Or even if they don't understand, if they just let you hear you and not comment on it. Even better, I appreciate when they try to help you regardless of their understanding. That you are tired of everything and want to have less pressure from them. Also that raising your voice a little bit when you are upset isn't disrespect. Watch your tone there, buddy. I'm an adult, but the one that has always got me is school. Every adult I know will listen to a kid complain about school and then tell them how good they have it. F that. You couldn't pay me to go back to high school, let alone middle school. I get paid to wake up every morning and go work now. Plus I get paid if I'm sick or just want to take a vacation day and not go in. High school is stressful as frick. Especially on a period system where you have to cram 7 different lessons in your brain every day, sometimes study for 7 different tests, and then add an ACT SAT prep on top of SAT prep on. Then you have to also be social, tie in some extracurriculars or community service to beef up the college application, and still try to squeeze in some time for friends, significant other or hobbies. I wouldn't go back to high school for all the money in the world. Someone gets it. My parents say how they wish they could go back to school and how lucky I am. But I am pretty sure they didn't have almost all honors and app classes. And when they get home after work, they are done. When I get back from school I still have to do homework and study. Exams are hard, as well as putting pressure on ourselves. We have teachers telling us we should be getting grades that are better than we could ever get. Our parents making revise each subject for an hour a day isn't going to stop the stress. Don't believe everything you read online. Kids are more aware of this, and adults believe whatever fake news they see. You'd think it'd be the other way round, but no. We've grown up in a world where we have to fact check. Our parents didn't. Just because I'm having a bad day doesn't mean that I'm being rude and disrespectful. And just because you lost your keys doesn't mean we are demon children. You can't pause an online game and being compared to other kids hurts. That when I have a valid argument it isn't disrespecting you. It's trying to make you understand there is another valid point of view. Agreed. I can't even talk to my dad about anything remotely political because he will scream, and after be all salty and keep trying to start fights which I don't entertain. It's ridiculous how close-minded some older people are. You thinking you're joking is you actually being an butthole, and you making fun of my body makes me care about it less so it'll never get better. Bisexuality. Younger cousins couldn't care less whereas parents took 3-5 business days to process that it's possible to be attracted to more than one gender. I don't know why but I really like the fact that you specified business days here. No dad, Steam is not a scam. You can literally put Steam gift cards at the grocery store and there are millions of users. What if they're lying about the users? To him everything online that isn't Facebook is a scam. Imagine getting invited to a real Mr. Beast challenge but parents won't let you because it's a scam. I just want to be equal to you. Yes, you deserve respect but so do I. I just want to be able to have a conversation and be heard. When you tell me to do something I just want you to hear me out when I have a problem with it. You would never treat a friend this way so why do you get to treat me like this? I remember being a kid. I remember resenting my parents not listening. I remember how often they were right and I was a dumbass. My teen daughter is not a dumbass and deserves to be heard, but that doesn't mean she's right. I recently turned 21 so I guess I'm technically not a teenager anymore, but while my parents didn't do this too badly, I hate being told to man up because I'm a guy who sometimes wants to cry, have emotions, and I'm not into sports or stuff like that. Like come on. Guys can act all like stereotypically feminine things and the other way around with girls. I love sports and am emotional. I'm often emotional at sports. Video games aren't horrible for you. Online strangers can be okay sometimes. We all have the right to privacy. I can be loud without being disrespectful. It's all gonna be okay. Adults get too worked up and think too hard sometimes. Children have insanely good moral compasses and are very sincere when you look them in the eye. Threatening your child with X will not make them happy or listen to what you're saying. Seriously, don't threaten you kids. And I mean this with serious threats like kicking them out. Internet's not that bad. It's good to take a break every now and then, but having a group chat or a social media to look at every time can help with moods and social starving. That it's okay not to remember people in your past if they don't mean anything to you. Some people really expect me to keep their names and faces in mind when they only come over to talk to my grandma. To add to that, my mum moved out of my grandma's house when I was 3, so how the frick am I supposed to remember them? That's strippers, black people, Mexicans, anyone who isn't white, LGBTQ+, non-religious people, people who have a different religion, ex-criminals who have converted to being good law-abiding citizens, the homeless, the disabled, including mental, and people who have different political opinions than you are all still people, and you should that means with respect, care, humbleness, and imagining what it's like to be in their shoes. I was raised to be cognizant of other people and their feelings. I was raised to not care about decisions that other people make that don't affect me or anyone else really in a negative way. I don't know how to teach that to the people who taught me that. That just because I play video games or watch anime doesn't mean I'm still a little freaking child or that I'm not growing up. I wish parents, mine at least, actually tried playing video games or watching a good butt anime that really makes you feel something. I have played video games and watched anime that are miles better than any movie I've seen or any book I've read. Some games have such amazing storytelling, it's pretty much an interactive book. I mean, I get it. You grew up at a time when video games were pretty much non-existent, and you hear the word game and just instantly think, oh, it's for children, but come on, at least give it a try. I find it so frustrating that my dad gets angry if I don't wanna see a movie with him, yet never even asks me what the game I'm playing is about. How video games are not bad for our society and how useful are computer for studying. Italian boomers taboo are terrifying. Just because something is normal doesn't mean it's okay. Just because something is weird doesn't mean it's bad. This isn't the first time you've indignantly denied an event that irrefutably proved in 30 seconds. Recent lynchings. Be more humble, your media is garbage. If you constantly pollute without a second thought, you're all piece of crap. 1. When I lock the door, I'm not trying to hide anything. I just want to be alone, and that doesn't mean pick the lock. 2. When I raise my voice, it doesn't equal disrespect. 3. When I say stop, I mean stop. It's not funny when you are tickling me and I say stop and then you laugh and reply with, stop means go. 4. It's offensive making fun of my friends. 5. Stop making fun of my online train community. There is no sense to even know it exists. 6. Stay out of my personal life. My parents don't know how not to do those things, and it drives me nuts. 1. School is about passing, not about getting smarter. 2. When you get a bad grade, not everyone has to know about it. 3. Quarantine is hard for us too. You think we wanna be stuck with your sorry butt for 5 months straight? Heck no. We wanna be outside doing things you don't know about. No guys, rap isn't all just high 20-year-olds rapping about being rich, all whilst saying the words in a tone sounding like Ohaj Bebius. No, there are genuinely good rappers who talk actual words and speak about legitimately important things. You don't deserve praise for keeping a roof over my head. You created me. It's your fault I'm here and you are literally the person responsible for putting a roof over my head. That sometimes we have unspoken social rules in order to not be seen as weird. In general, how easily you can get embarrassed by actions in school which adults would see as normal. No, just because I don't like that B Tiffany does not mean that I should confront her on how much I hate her. As long as nothing serious is going on, I'd rather coexist. Or no, I won't go straight to my crush and ask him out of nowhere for a date. Worst case that he'll make fun of me, etc. Yeah, sure. School ain't no utopia with only kind people. If you do anything differently or cringe-worthy, then you'll be the next gossip. Already starts in elementary school, TBH. I'm not a teen anymore, but I think the hardest things for me to explain to anyone older that even my 9-year-old understands are: you should wear a mask to protect people more vulnerable than you if you have to get out in a pandemic, and why you should stay home as much as possible. Love is love as long as both parties consenting adults. Respect and trust are earned, and they are easier to lose than gain. People are allowed to like what they like. You don't have to be a boy to like cars or a girl to like princesses. Favoritism is balls. It happens. But you shouldn't participate because everyone deserves a fair chance. People are people regardless of their skin color, background, or ethnicity, and should be treated with kindness and human decency. Stand up for what you believe in. You're the only one who has to live with yourself for the rest of your life. No one should go without food, shelter, water, or education. It's 2020 and that's an unacceptable, selfish waste of resources. There are probably more. These are just the ones I can think of. Parents need to understand that their time is gone. This isn't the whole rainbows and unicorns age, man. Take a seat and hear me out. 3. I can't tell that I have stress and anxiety issues to them. 1. Because they'll just label it as an excuse for not getting my butt up and doing house chores and whatnot. 2. Because I know they got the same problem and issues but for different reasons. I am the type to keep things to myself, and I am the worst at expressing my feelings to my parents. When I was young, say 12 or 13, I am 19 now, I'd write letters to my dad for apologizing for something I did. THT made him mad. I didn't have the courage to go up to him and speak up. I'd tear up at the thought of speaking to him. The thing that always made my mind to go into overdrive was, why do I have to write a letter to talk to my own freaking dad in order to speak to him? I always break at this point. Dad tells me that I don't need letters to speak to him. Dad, if you want me to speak to you, make it look like you want me to speak to you. I come from a Asian household. Bangladeshi precisely. People from around there can relate. We all stay busy with our own problems. Telling them that I have major anxiety and overthinking issues will only get me hearing stuff like, you don't go out and earn money. Why are you stressed? All you do is stay at home and do nothing. Why you stress? I have friends to talk to, but man, they in the same slum as me. It's like we're different people but broken in the same way. There's a song called Older by Sasha Sloan. Give it a listen. 3. Somewhere along the lyrics it goes like, the older I get, the more that I see. My parents aren't heroes. They are just like me. I felt it to my core. Some might argue saying that's wrong, but I grew up in a family that always prioritized their public image over my mental health. Okay, they tried to keep me happy by all means possible, but everything comes to end when they start saying in my time. Parents need to understand that their time is gone. This isn't the whole rainbows and unicorns age, man. Parents of Reddit, a request. Please listen to your kids even if they don't tell you everything on their own. If they need help, get them help. If they don't want external help, be their help. Build that understanding before it's too late. Constantly calling the manager at a job I applied for doesn't make them want to hire you anymore. They've got crap to do. It just pisses them off. A child will easily understand that a single dollar is a lot of money. When we are adults we forget this. I think homelessness proved that to me. Not a teenager anymore, but sometimes people online will offer more understanding and compassion than the people you know in real life. When life achievements seem empty, video games give a sense of accomplishment some people can't get anywhere else. Young folks aren't stupid, they're just inexperienced. If you say no, because I said so is not a proper reason, freaking explain why. There's more to life than just schoolwork. Taking pictures of me hanging out with my friends without any warning is freaking weird, and it's the reason I don't have friends over as often. In order for me to respect you as a figure of authority, you have to respect me as a complete person with feelings first. There are some things, more everyday, that I know more about than you, and that is fine. Having kids is not a retirement plan, and I have no obligation, legal or moral, to take care of you when you have invested nothing into your future and physically let yourself go. The prison industry complex and military industry complex in America. Bro, the first one. They usually take photos of me in the middle of something and it's always on the most awkward frame possible. Then they post it. Just because you turned the age of being a legal adult, that doesn't mean you magically learn all adult things. I always get furious when someone goes, you should have done that. It's what you do when things like that happen. How TF am I supposed to know what to do when no one even tells me? My friend had a very bad situation where the adults, like child protection service people, blamed her that she, at 15 years, should have known to get an attorney. How would any frickin' 15-year-old know such things? Was there a secret time in history where all the adults could just download all necessary infos for how to adult? Gay people are normal. Told the 6-year-old girl I babysit I had a girlfriend in Stardew Valley and she just asked which one. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.